said to me before the concert that your music is for depressive, lonely people, and that's why he didn't like it. I mean, is that fair?
No.
That's a simple one.
I don't think
Was he a depressed, lonely person?
No.
That's why he doesn't like it.
Does he know many depressed, lonely people? It interests me.
But do you find them when you're on stage? I mean, for instance, again, when you came back to do an encore, someone called out a request and you said dryly, we don't play requests.
But it wasn't dryly, it was accurately. We don't play requests, we never have. And I don't suppose we ever will do. We do what we do as best as we can. And we're not a jukebox. That's why, we're here. If people want a jukebox, they go elsewhere.
Does that mean then that you don't make any concessions really to playing before a live audience?
I think the fact that we come
that you're
is a
there
concession to a live audience.
I knew you were going to be difficult. But
No, I mean, it's if you talk about concessions to a live audience, I mean, I don't think that it should really operate on that level. I mean, it's not just sort of like a sort of something that, I don't know, that you just sit there and you just watch it and you think, oh, that was nice, or whatever. One hopes that it's sort of in some way provoking, in some way stimulating. Even if it stimulates a negative reaction, that's better than no reaction at all, as they always say.
To go back just for a minute, I mean, to the beginning of the band. Now, what was the main reason why you got together at the beginning, back in '76?
I don't think there was a main reason, actually.
Tell me one of the others.
It's clever. It was quite loose. It's quite vague.
I think one of the reasons is we're all getting on fairly well with what we're doing individually, but I think maybe we thought that collaborating in some way with other people might be quite interesting. The fact that music is a quite convenient way of doing that.
And also, I mean, it was sort of like cause and effect. I mean, we didn't really know each other, and we just, for some reason, got in this room and said, well, let's. For some reason, I can't explain why now. I mean, caution was thrown to the wind, and we all decided we were going to make a noise.
I was going to say,
discovered we enjoyed it.
Because the thing was, we didn't even particularly like each other. We didn't know each other, and I don't think we particularly liked what we knew about each other anyway. And when we started, I think it was the fact that we found that we weren't embarrassed to make a noise in the same room, because none of us could play at all.
Apart from Colin.
Colin could play, but he never.
But
he wasn't playing guitar at the time. He was singing, and he couldn't sing now.
Can't sing now.
Yeah. I remember you telling me when I first saw you that one of the main reasons you told me then, I think, that you got together was in fact because at that time, what was happening in rock music didn't appeal to you, and you wanted to do something that was, if you like, not typical rock and roll. Which I think you certainly did at the beginning, but do you find now, having done 2 albums, having been on tour, and done those kind of rock and roll things, that it's still possible to maintain that kind of an attitude where you're not falling into the trap of doing what everyone's doing?
I think it makes one even stronger.
On one hand, it's an inevitable dichotomy, and on the other hand, you can say, okay, faced with that, right, we're in a position to do it and continue it, make it even more so, or make it whatever. And I think probably it becomes more subtle in some ways. I'm not quite sure how we don't sit down and say this is how we're going to cope with it. And it's something which is continually in everyone's mind.
I think the thing is that
ways evolve.
When you are confronted with it, it becomes very, very, very obvious and quite disgusting, really. The whole thing which goes along with it. But I don't think you can avoid it coming your way, but I think you can sort of fend it off.
In that sense, then, how has your attitude towards writing changed? Do you find that, having now been in the studio more often, that your attitude towards actually composing a song has changed because you now feel that much more at home working in a studio?
I think that's more recording, isn't it, really?
That's
That
to do
comes
with
down to record. I think your attitude towards writing is
Whereas playing,
remains the same. I think playing, obviously, because you get the instant replay, you can hear what is right and what is wrong, and every time we've been into the studio, I think we've improved considerably because of the intensity of the activity. But on the writing side, I don't think it's changed that much. I think, in a way, though, I think we sort of come with sort of more formed ideas of what we want.
I think how it works out is, from my side, the things that I write is that I always have things, imagine things going on. You know, I can imagine this melody counterpoint, etc., etc., etc. And while you're just sitting there playing it on the guitar, it never will come to fruition unless you actually plonk to the studio. As soon as you think, well, I know that this song, when it is played by people, then it will be recorded, and those ideas will be able to happen. But that doesn't actually mean that more ideas come your way. It just means that it makes what was impossible before possible. So in that way, it's a good thing. But I don't think it actually changes the writing.
I find it interesting too that with your own songs, that most of them have not changed in the arrangements from the way that you used to do them when you first wrote them. And I somehow always felt that because you're always writing new stuff and experimenting, that maybe you would have changed.
I don't think.
What about Pink
Flag? I was going to say.
We just went up and wrecked Pink Flag.
I don't think it wrecked it. It just changed.
We've been doing
apart from the fact that it had the chorus in the same place, and that happened to be a C. I don't think it sort of bore that much relationship.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if you think of the things when they're written as being then finished, I mean, you're happy with them in that way.
No, I don't think that's quite. I think there are 2 points. First of all, that when a song is written, and then it is brought to the rest of the band, and say this is how it goes, and it gets played, immediately a change occurs. We then usually take it out on the road or demo it, and in that process something changes, and then again when we come to recording something changes. So probably by the time of recording, a song has already been played to quite a large extent, so that we have found a satisfactory way of playing it. It doesn't mean to say that there can't be a certain looseness within the structure, but we do know how to make the best of that melody, or how to make the best of that song. So I think something evolves always, because we just have quite a large amount of time between writing and recording.
Let me ask you.
We've always got new songs.
Let me ask you a general question, because when
can I say something
sure.
before you go? I was going to say, I think the thing about you saying about because we sort of change or whatever, I think the fact that we had 9 new songs, I don't think there is a necessity to sort of particularly push things sort of out of the window or over the edge or whatever you want to say, because there were 9 new songs, and you know there were only 8 which people knew, but that was perhaps their lead into what we're doing now, you know, the new things.
Let me then ask you a general question, because when you began 76, end of 76, beginning of 77, there was a lot going on in England, obviously, that everybody now knows about. And at that time, there was a scene, if you like, of things happening. Now, a couple of years on, do you think that perhaps what you were doing at that time has had an influence on people that have come after you? Do you see that happening?
People have said as much, but I don't think we're that aware of it.
For us to say that, I think we're making sort of outrageously whatever claims. But I think it is possible that there are people
maybe
who.
Everybody who came out of that time.
I think it's more a matter of not being influenced, of opening doors, doing a certain amount of spade work, certain things. A band will do something, and that means that people will be prepared to listen in that period of time to something which is not the same at all, but something which is different. I mean, it's something which happens every now and then. I mean, what happens is eventually that the rock market again closes up again, and a very kind of narrow line of what is acceptable. And if someone goes and does something unacceptable in front of an audience, they probably aren't prepared for it.
I think the record companies have done that.
Well, that always happens.
I think there are more. There seemed to be a lull, but now there seem to be more bands around again
I think things are picking up
Picking up, yeah.
very quietly.
Quietly this time. It's not going to be this sort of big push this time because, somebody's already sworn on TV, you know what I mean? So,
So don't try it. We'll cut that out.
Don't know any swear
I don't know
words.
any German swear words. Anyway.
What about the stage show? Because I know that you said about that in a different way to most bands too. Let's take, for instance, the lighting, which is perhaps the most obvious point to start. How did you go about deciding how you'd present yourselves on stage?
I think we knew what we didn't want. We didn't want the the rock and roll twinkling lights Christmas tree effect. And this is the part where it goes and then it goes and then you change the colour and you have a wash here and a wash there. That's for that kind of music, and that's not what we were interested in. But when we came to it, Simon, who does our lights, we said to him, we're interested in anything that you have and that you're interested in that isn't rock and roll. And he did some theatre lighting. And we pushed on from there, he'd brought things in, we had an idea for sort of various things, but it's just a dialogue really.
It's the songs which are lit rather than the
Than the
performers,
people, yeah.
hopefully.
Because in rock and roll the lights flash.
And obviously you have to light
sort
the
of-
performers, but hopefully the actual song is lit. in a
I think
way.
we talked quite extensively with Simon to start with, but it became quite apparent that he understood what we were talking about, and so.
Because the usual rock and roll thing is the lights all flash and the people all run round in circles and then it's exciting. And like we thought, it's pretty naff.
Is that also what determines then, for instance, the way you actually put the set together? Because you end with Heartbeat, which is a very slow, quiet sort of number, apart from the obvious climax in the middle, whereas most rock and roll bands will go out with their big, heavy number.
Go out with the big number.
The one
Actually,
that made them famous.
we have, we have had sets in which we have a big number that finishes. We decided on this particular set, the set that we play tonight is what we're taking out on tour at the moment, and it's it just seemed like a good idea. And we
haven't
just
played
talked
Heartbeat
about it,
before, have
and
we?
we'd never played Heartbeat on
We
stage
almost
before.
at the time of
Everyone's
recording,
always-
we agreed almost that we'd never ever play
We'd
it
never
live.
play it, but we had the 9 new songs, and the last time we were in Germany we had 7 new songs, and the mood of those was, should we say, quite. It wasn't exactly sort of punchy, was it? And this time the new songs sort of were a little bit more lively, and we just felt that it worked, that it should be rather than sort of.
Have a reflective kind of end rather than.
But it also sets up, something that we're always interested in is tension between performer and audience. And I think when it works, it sets up a magnificent tension. So that a pin, if it works, it doesn't always, a pin could drop and then.
Well, it gives the audience the chance
And
to
also
react in a
just-
different way as well. And people,
It's
the
very
people-
unexpected.
yeah, the few crowds that we have played to seem to enjoy it, rather than having to go mad and leap up and down, sweat a lot.
Let me ask you something and ask Robert to answer it, because
He always picks on me. Yeah, it's all right, yeah.
we've had this before, Robert, that
You never say anything.
you never say anything, and the last time that we talked, you said it was because no one ever asked you anything. So I'll ask you something direct.
Didn't mean it.
He was lying.
Mike Thorne, who produces the band now, and does a lot with you in the studio, obviously wasn't with you tonight on stage. What sort of a role is he playing now? Let's say after you've done the first 2 albums. Do you work closely with him just when you're in the studio, or do you find you work with him outside of the studio anyway?
Well, I have played on stage with him a few times. It's closest when we're in the studio, definitely. But we meet now and then and sort of discuss ideas of what's going to happen next.
I thought that was a very good answer, didn't you? Agree?